Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Ayu Putri Denai from class 5D English Literature. So today I want to make a review from a novel from Randa Jarrar with title Himi Muhammad Ali, published in October 2016. Himi Muhammad Ali is a collection of short stories that explore themes like identity, cultural displacement, and the search for belonging. Jarrar's writing mixes realism with elements of magic, giving her characters experiences a unique blend of the everyday and the imaginative. The stories are deeply connected to the challenges of exile and immigrant experience in the US, with characters often feeling torn between two worlds as they struggle to find a place where they truly belong. In Jarrar's novel, I have found 4 quotation or metaphors from the novel. First, let's look at this metaphor. The peacock think they are fancier than chickens, but they're not. They still have to live in a coop, no matter how hot their feathers look. I think this metaphor humorously critiques the vanity of the peacock, symbolizing how appearances can be deceiving. The peacock, with its extravagant feathers, believes it is superior, but it is ultimately still confined by the same limitation as the chicken. This can be interpreted as a reflection of how people, despite their external achievement or status, are often constrained by societal expectation. In the context of the characters, Dina, this metaphor could symbolize how individuals who perceive themselves as more sophisticated or elevated, perhaps due to cultural or familiar expectation, are still bound by the same rigid structure, particularly patriarchy. Dina, much like the peacock in this metaphor, sees herself as a different but remains confined with the same cultural constraints. The second metaphor that I found interesting and from this novel is highlight the family's relationship with faith. It says, the only thing keeping us from being outright atheists is that none of us had ever eaten pork. We were born to God through the absence of pig grease. And I think this line is quite humorously critiques the family's shallow connection to religion, to God. The idea that their connection to God is based solely on cultural practices like abstaining from pork rather than spiritual connection, spiritual convention, highlights a disconnection between religious belief and everyday life. This metaphor is, I think, being bound to God through the absence of pig grease is emphasized how their religious identity is more about cultural habit than the genuine faith itself. This mirrors the family's loose ties to religious practice, which are influenced more by cultural expectation than by deep spiritual commitment. It is humorous yet telling critic of how faith can sometimes be reduced to rituals that serve as markers of cultural identity rather than reflection of a deeper personal connection to religion. And now let's look at a metaphor that encapsulates Dina's struggle of empowerment. It says, I look like a queen, stopped at a staircase made from cutthroat and diamonds. The boys, my misbehaved servants. Here is Dina imagines herself as a queen, standing above the boys who usually dominate the household. And I think this quotation is served as a reversal of power dynamics, where Dina envisions herself asserting control in an environment dominated by patriarchal structures. The staircase made from cutthroat and diamonds, I think it is symbolized the obstacle she has overcome to assert herself, suggesting that her rise is not easy, but she stands firm in her power. And this metaphor, I think, is also connects to the theme of Orientalism as a challenge to the stereotype of passive, submissive woman in Eastern cultures. Dina's self-perception as a queen defies the usual expectation of female passivity, positioning her as a symbol of empowerment with the family. And next, we have a quotation, a metaphor that depicts Dina's emotional state after a car accident. It says the windshield's glass cracked slowly but remained intact, so that when I looked out of my car, I saw everything through a large web of glass flakes. In this instance, I think, for me, the cracked glass symbolized Dina's fractured emotional state. She is deeply affected by the events around her, yet she remains resilient. The metaphor of the glass staying intact despite its cracks, it is reflect her ability to continue forward even when faced with challenges. This idea of remaining intact in the face of damage resonates with the pressure that Dina have faced, especially those imposed by patriarchy and the diaspora experience. The cracks in the glass suggest that Dina's identity and emotional well-being are fragmented, yet she managed to hold herself together and persist. And I think these metaphors also connect to the diaspora experience, just as the glass is cracked but still whole. Those living in diaspora often view their lives and identities through fragmented lenses. It's like shaped by mutual cultural influences and experiences. But they continue to see themselves as a whole individuals. The cracks are not the end of the story. They are part of the larger narrative of survival and adaptation. And lastly, I considered the connection between these metaphors and the concept of patriarchy. In many of these metaphors, we see the subtle ways in which women are expected to remain resilient despite emotional or societal pressures. Dina's imagined position as the queen of her ability to remain intact despite the broken glass reflect the unspoken expectation that women, particularly in patriarchal structures, must maintain composure and strength even when they are emotionally or mentally shattered. So that is 4 quotation or metaphors that I found interesting from this novel, Him, Me, Muhammad Ali, and hopefully you guys enjoyed my review, and thank you. Bye bye. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.